So my name is Jason Hoke, and I am the president of the Cincinnati Landmark Eagles. And welcome, and thank you so much for coming out this evening as we talk about the 2024 season. It's hard to believe it's already upon us. But for those of you who've been with us for a while, in 1 month we'll be having our first mini camp for the season. So football is truly right around the corner. We're going to go ahead and, sure, you can go to the next slide. We're going to go ahead and start the evening by opening things up with prayer. And so we'll have Pastor John Bush come on up here and open us up.
Father, we thank you for each one present here, and we thank you for this program. Lord, we seek above all to honor Christ in everything that we do. So Lord, we pray for your blessing upon the season, upon this year, and upon this program. I just pray that you will help tonight to be an encouragement and a blessing looking forward to the season that is to come. Father, I pray that you just lead our time now. It's in Christ's name. Amen.
Sure, you can go to the next slide. For all of those who have come in here, if you didn't see it, there at the back table, we have 2 handouts. One of them talks about some of the changes for things this year with regards to volunteer and fundraising. And the other one has a series of different QR codes so that we can go right to areas where we can do registration. So I just wanted to point that out, that if you don't have those papers, please go ahead and grab those real quick. I did not duplicate all of the slides in here. I didn't want to bore you with those details, but wanted to make sure you did have the important things. So first of all, I just want to thank John and Sherry Bush for arranging for us to be able to utilize the church here this evening. It's hard to find a location that can seat a big crowd, and we do appreciate that. So I'm going to start off by just taking a review of the 2023 season. So the 2023 season was a good year. We finished with a 7-6 record, and this makes the 4th season in a row where we finished with a winning record. The past 5 out of 6 seasons, we've had a winning record. So the Landmark Eagles, we're a strong program. We continue to improve, continue to get stronger, and it's exciting to see what's going to happen here in the future for us. So last year we were in the 2nd annual Homeschool Football Classic. So the first year, the Homeschool Football Classic was down in Dallas, Texas at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Last year we were at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That's the home of the Indianapolis Colts. And for the 2nd year in a row, we blanked our opponent. We won that game, winning by 42-0 over the Illinois Crusaders. So that makes us 2-0 in our Homeschool Football Classic games. We finished the season 3rd in the Great Lakes Christian Athletic Conference. So for those of you who are new to our program, our club is a part of the Great Lakes Christian Athletic Conference. It's a conference of 7 teams across Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. And so we are part of the Southern Division of that conference. And so at the end of the season, we have a tournament schedule, a playoff schedule, and then the best team from the North faces the best team from the South. The second best team from the North faces the second best team from the South. And so we won that game, and therefore we came in 3rd place for the season. We added off-season workouts this year. So how many of you guys are doing the off-season workouts? Great, great. And so for those of you who didn't raise your hand, hopefully that means you're doing workouts on your own at home. So this was something new that we added this year to give our guys a chance to stay in shape, stay conditioned in the off-season. And so the folks who've been doing the off-season workouts have been meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Ross High School. This started in January and it's going to go all the way till June. So for those of you who are new, or if you are still have been a part of Landmark, we are still having people sign up for this. We actually have special pricing for starting in March, so that way you can go ahead and join in March, and that'll continue on until June. So if you're not a part of that, I would really encourage you to do that. I wanted to congratulate, we have 5 seniors from our 2023 team who are going on to play in college. And this really is a big deal because even some of the bigger high schools are not blessed enough to have 5 of their seniors going on to play in college. So go ahead and go to the next slide, Sherry. So of those 5 seniors, we have 2 of them that are going to Anderson University in Anderson, Indiana. And we have then also 3 of them that are headed to Pensacola, Florida to play at Lighthouse Christian College. Next slide. I put this up here just so that way you can recognize and see who is the administrative team for the Cincinnati Landmark Eagles. As I mentioned, I'm Jason Hoke, and when I mention each of your names, if you're on the board, go ahead and just stand so at least families can see who you are. So Curtis Nukin is our team treasurer. He also is in charge of our Team Snap. He's in charge of Team Snap registration, so he's the guy to go to if you have any questions regarding your registration. Dean Scher, is Dean here? Excellent. So Dean is our secretary, so he's in charge of helping us with keep all paperwork and track. Excuse me. Jeremy Furness, he is our athletic director for this year. Lisa Williams, so Lisa's a board member and also is our Eagle Nation coordinator. You're going to hear a little bit more about Eagle Nation here in a little bit. Jane Rockla Mooneyhan, she's one of our new board members who has taken on the role of our social coordinator, our social media coordinator. So she's doing a lot of those Facebook posts that you see. Okay? And then Josh Homison, and he's also going to be one of our junior high assistant coaches this year. So that's our board. Our head coaches, you'll get to meet them and hear a little bit more about them here in a little bit, but we have Mike Goodpasture for varsity football, Keith Mooneyhan for junior high football, and then Sherry Bush for cheer. And you'll get to meet each of them here in a little bit. And then last of all, I did not want to forget Michael Jacobson. He is our medical director for the team. Next slide. So who we are. So there you can see the motto for our team. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount on wings as eagles. They shall run, will not weary. And they shall walk and not faint. And then you can also see the mission statement for our program. Sorry, I was having a little trouble reading that in the lighter color. So you can read the mission statement up there. All right, next page. All right, so I'm going to have Jane come up, and she's going to talk to you about the different aspects of our program as far as keeping up to date, the social media aspects, and then if I could have Dean and Curtis also make their way up here, so that way you guys will be all set when Jane is finished.
Hi, on the website, we passed out these blue pieces of paper that have all the QR codes. So the nice thing is you just take your phone and click on the QR code, and that'll take you to everything you need to know about Landmark, and trying to make it as easy as possible. So the website, Jason's worked really hard, he's revamped it, it's awesome, but all the information that you need is on the website. On Facebook, if you could all please follow us, like us, and share us. We're trying to get the word out to everybody that we possibly can about our football program, because it's such a great opportunity, and the way my family came to it, excuse me, was through social media. So I have a real heart for this. Now someone suggested that I ask you all now to get your phones out and click the QR code on the Facebook and follow us, like us, and share us. But if you could share on your own pages on Facebook, and any co-ops or groups that you are associated with. I joined about 6 Ohio homeschool website or Facebook pages just so I could try and get the word out there, and we've actually reached some people from this last push. So we find this organization to be fabulous. We just want to get the word out to anybody who might be interested in that. Also, on the Facebook page, underneath more, there is events that you can click on. So what we've also tried to do is every event that we have is now on Facebook, all collected there together. The workouts are on there to remind you on Tuesday and Thursdays to do your workouts. This meeting was on there. The early registration fees that are less, that event is on there. So it's just full of great information. We also have Instagram. So again, I appreciate it if you click on the QR code and do Instagram. And even, I know the kids aren't as much on Facebook. We don't have anything on TikTok, I apologize. But just on all of our social media, if you can like and follow, that would be awesome. We do have Twitter and the Instagram. YouTube is great for if you want to watch some of the games. And then we have an email address. The last thing, like I told you about the flyers, we have extras if you belong to a co-op or any group, your church, or anyone, again, that we can reach out and recruit any football families possible. There are extra flyers back there. There are also some flyers that are heavy duty, that if there are any businesses or your church or anywhere that you could think of to post these flyers that would help people know about us, there's some really nice quality ones back there that can be put up at, if you know a local gas station, they'll let you put up the window, or a grocery. Again, churches are a great option as well. I also do spirit wear. So we have a new, somebody who's doing our spirit wear this year. That QR code is on there. And I also wanted to let people know there's a sale that starts tomorrow, 25% off everything. And also that the varsity letter jackets, we are getting information out for those. So for you cheerleaders and football players who are waiting for information on that, we will soon have that out to you as well.
Next slide. I don't think that was my slide. That, I think, is my slide. Registration is now up, and I think, as Jane shared, you will find that on the QR code. We are currently running, as we have in prior years, a early registration discount. So if you register before May 1st, you will receive $50 off. You'll notice that we have tried not to raise registration fees this year, very similar to last year. And that does, this year, you're going to see some more things as you register. You'll be hearing more about our partnership with the Reds and Great American Ballpark, but that information is in there as well as some information about the Home School Football Classic. So unlike when we did this in Dallas a couple of years ago, and it took us a lot of work, last minute work to raise a bunch of money, we're trying to do it this year in a little more strategic way. So definitely please do so early to make sure you get that discount. If you have any questions about registration, I'll be here. Also, if you have any Team Snap questions or issues, I am the person to talk to.
As stated earlier, my name is Ian Scher, and I'm the secretary for football this year, and just wanted to let you all know that I'll be collecting all the paperwork for the physicals. There'll be some additional paperwork for our trip to Dallas. Also, we have some paperwork that will be required for our school football classic down in Florida as well. So if you guys have any questions for that, one thing that I will mention, this is something that we definitely did not take part of in the first year, and wish we would have, is Dr. Hogue and Dr. Jacobson provide physicals in the last week of our mini camps. So I highly, highly recommend that you take advantage of that. It's a small fee. Dr. Jacobson and Dr. Hogue get that squared away, and that is definitely a benefit of this game. And all the money that's collected goes back to the landmarks.
Thank you. All right, so I just put this up there because this is from our website, so this is what it looks like on the registration page. So we have a registration box for cheer, and then one also for football. Okay, next slide. As Curtis was saying, the fees for this year are the same as they were last year. Those numbers you can see up there. And so I just wanted to briefly talk about this. So for those folks who are new, who may not be familiar, we actually have a tiered registration. So you basically pick the level that you want to pay for registration, and then that is offset by the number of volunteer hours. So if you want to have the cheapest registration fee, of course then you're signing up for the most volunteer hours, so that'd be 30 volunteer hours. Or if you want to have the least amount of volunteer hours at just 10, then you would just pay the higher amount for the registration fee. When we talk about these registration fees these are based for the volunteer hours here. These volunteer hours that we're referring to are per family. Okay, so these are referring to the game day type of volunteering. So if you're looking at here at the one sheet that was there in the back, you'll see the game day volunteering. You'll see all of the different areas that are coordinators or supervisors for each of the things that we do, such as a game day coordinator. We have a concessions coordinator. We have someone who is painting the lines on the practice field. So those are year-long commitments. But then you can also see that we have positions that are still needed, game day activities such as taking tickets, working in the concession stand, working chains, being on the cleanup crew. Those are the volunteer hours that we're talking about. So the thing to remember is that Landmark is a 100% all-volunteer program. The board members volunteer their time. The coaches are volunteering. And so then in order to make each of the events happen, we also need to have parental support, student support for filling those different jobs that need to happen on game day. I had no idea how much work goes into making a football game happen until I became a part of the board and saw all the little wheels that have to run to make this happen. It's different than probably any other sport as far as just the sheer volume of folks that have to be available to make these games happen. And so we rely on that to make our program successful. So if you guys have any questions on the volunteering, etc., by all means grab a board member and ask. Let's go to the next slide. So there you can see these are actually, I put this on there to just show you again, it takes a lot of people to run this shift. So these are the folks who have already committed to doing some of the major volunteer activities. And I will tell you as the president of the board, this is awesome that this early, even before the season starts, we have this many people who have committed to filling these roles. So I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because that's one less stress that we have to worry about. So just again, an awesome display of the commitment of our parents to making this program run. Go to the next slide. And so there you can see there's still these areas that are needed to be filled. And again, those are listed on that white sheet that was in the back. So let's go ahead and go to the next page. Okay. So last year, one of the things that we at Landmark did in order to raise additional funds to help with the program and to help with offsetting fees is we volunteered at Paycor Stadium. Paycor Stadium, which is the home of the Cincinnati Bengals. This was a great opportunity. We had our own concession stand. We were there for every home game, 10 people working in the concession booth. And it was quite successful. We were able to reduce some fees, raise some money for the program, so it was a win-win for both the people volunteering and for the club. But we quickly realized that there's one major challenge with working at Paycor Stadium, and that is it's during football season. So you as parents, as players, as family members, you're already practicing 4 nights a week. You've got a game. You get to the weekend and you're like, man, I just need a break. Oh, now I gotta go work at Paycor. So we recognized and realized that that's a lot to ask during your busiest time of the season as it is. And so this year we shifted gears and said, well, what if we look at doing something during what is football off season? Because now there's going to be more flexibility, and when you work at baseball games, there's 80 home games. And we were able to pick the 20 home games that are on Fridays and Saturdays. Because we recognized also that one of the biggest challenges working a Cincinnati Bengals game is most of their games are on Sundays. And as a Christian organization, that became kind of hard to fill those slots, and understandably so. So we were able to pick all the Friday and Saturday home games for the Cincinnati Reds to work at Great American Ballpark. So I wanted to at least take a minute to explain why we made this shift. And I'm pretty excited about it because we can actually have all of our commitment to the Cincinnati Reds done, with the exception of one game. We can have the entire commitment done before we have our first football game of the season. So our fundraising will be finished before the first game of the season. All right, so to go through this, each athlete will need to fill 2 slots. So as I mentioned with game day volunteering, that is based on per family. So if you have 2 or 3 athletes in the program, you're only required to have the 10, 20, or 30 hours times 1. Okay, so it's per family for volunteer hours. Game day, Reds games at Great American Ballpark, this is per athlete. Okay, and so in this situation, it makes the most sense that if you can have families going together, or the athlete and a friend, or a parent and a friend go, you can actually quickly get these kicked out. So the requirement is that for every athlete on the team, they're committed to having 2 shifts at Great American Ballpark. The one caveat is that you have to be at least 16 years of age to be able to work at the park. And we're working in concessions again this year. So for our junior high folks, what this means is that if you have a junior high player, it might mean that mom and dad, or a parent and a family friend go, or a parent and an older sibling go, and they work one day. Because if you have 2 people from the same family going to work that one day, those 2 shifts are covered in that one visit. Okay? So again, it's 2 shifts per athlete. If you feel like that's too much of a commitment, that you can't take one day out, one Friday or one Saturday out of your schedule, you do have the option to pay $250 to cover the money that would be raised from you working at Great American Ballpark. So there is that option for those folks who said there's just no way I can do the volunteering. For the volunteering, there is the requirement to do a 4-hour training session at Great American Ballpark. If you remember from Paycor Stadium, there was a video that you had to watch. Well, with Great American, they actually want you to be on site, kind of walking through the whole steps of doing concessions. Now, I tried. I explained that we have a group that's probably going to have 100 different volunteers coming to work at Great American. Is there any way we could do this training off-site? And they said, no, we have to have it here. But what they did do is they allowed us to pick our own day. So, Saturday, April 13th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's on the white sheet here, is the Landmark training day. So that's when we hope that the vast majority of Landmark families can make it for that. That gives you about a month to plan for that date. Look at your calendar, see if you can do that. Because then we can be there together as a group. If you can't make that date, that's okay. There's like 8, 9 other days you could pick from. Okay. After we do our training this year, you have to, like I said, be live in person. After this year, then it'll just be video from this point forward. You just have to basically reattest that you know how to work the concession stand. So we have the other thing that we can add on here, and this is to help to offset the cost for the trip to Dallas, Texas, is for every varsity player, if you want to make the trip to Dallas, Texas, essentially for free, it would be working 3 additional shifts at Great American Ballpark. That covers your trip to Dallas. Alternatively, if you don't want to do the extra shifts, it's $375. And we're working on transportation and hotel accommodations for all the football players, and then also if cheer will be joining us as well. So we do have that set up that's worked into there to do volunteering to have your trips covered. So I know that volunteering and asking to do fundraising and things like this at times seems like a big ask, but we also recognize that when we look at it from a financial standpoint, we're left with 2 choices. We either have to raise fees or we have to do additional volunteering and fundraising. When you take a look at different public schools, many of them have had failed levies and things of that nature, and players are actually having to pay to play. Several schools have lost busing to their away games. You can do a comparison to see how much you pay to play at Landmark versus what you would pay to play at a public school. And from the data that I've seen is that we are probably cheaper, or at least very competitive with any of those programs. And still, those folks are also still having to do fundraising to offset the costs. So I just say that to say, hey, we are comparable with what you're going to see in the public sector. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so then the last thing I have here is just a pathway to play, because I can tell you that, and I understand, I try to look at things from what it would be like if I was a new family joining. We just threw a lot of information at you. So we've got a website, we've got TeamSnap, we've got Facebook, we've got this, we've got that, we've got registration. How does all this work? So what we did is we just tried to simplify it and made it called the pathway to play. So basically, you're going to choose your family volunteering level. And so if you have more than one player on a team, so if you have a varsity player, a junior high player, and or a cheer, when you sign up for your registration, you're going to pick the same level of volunteering hours for each player. So that way it's going to be even across the board as far as a cost. Okay, remember that the game day volunteering is based on per family. Okay? And then, so the next step will be is then you're going to choose your Great American Ballpark fundraising. And that's going to be 2 shifts per athlete, or $250 per athlete. When you register, it goes through the TeamSnap program. You actually will be given this question. Do you want to do the 2 shifts, or would you prefer to pay the $250 rather than going to Great American Ballpark? And then, as I mentioned, for varsity, you can work 3 additional shifts to have your Dallas trip covered. After you have finished that registration, if you're on the website, you'll see the block for registration. Scroll down a little bit farther, and then you'll see the spots where you can sign up for your volunteer hours. We use Sign Up Genius for our volunteer hours. You'll see it oftentimes abbreviated SUG. So if you see SUG written somewhere, that just means that's Sign Up Genius. Okay, so then you're going to click on that, and you can do your volunteer activities. You can go ahead and sign up for each game for that. And then you'll do the Sign Up Genius for the Great American Ballpark. Remember that when you do the Great American Ballpark, you definitely want to put on there the date that you're going to be coming for the training. Okay? And I'm going to be putting a link on the website. Actually, I just added it last night, now that I think about it, for all the directions, the instructions on how to get where you need to go for the trainer. So it's right on there too, right underneath that spot for the sign-up genius. Okay. And then the last thing is, again, if you're a new athlete, after you register, you're going to get an email invitation from Team Snap. Okay. Make sure you respond to that. Make sure you sign up for Team Snap, because that is how our team does all of its communication. Okay. So even our players from last year, they're still getting Team Snap messages. They got Team Snap messages about tonight's meeting. So all of you new folks would then also get that information as well on Team Snap. Next slide. All right, Lisa. So Lisa's going to talk to us a little bit about fundraising and Eagle Nation.
Hello, Eagle Nation. Thank you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lisa Williams, and this is my 5th year as a Landmark mom. And maybe that's a little bit, I guess, why it's kind of nostalgic, and just thinking how much Landmark has been a part of my family for the past 5 years. I remember our very first year, like it was yesterday. We were excited to find a place, just for a place for our kids to play football. And to be honest, at this point I didn't know very much about Landmark, except that it was a Christian homeschool football organization. And I didn't really know a lot about football either. My kids will tell you I probably still don't. But honestly, I'm glad I learned a lot more about Landmark. And how that happened is shortly after I joined, there was a text that went out from someone named Laura Wells. And anybody that's been part of this organization for any length of time knows that Laura Wells was everything Landmark. She was the person to go to for anything, and she was looking for someone to be a concession stand coordinator. I will be honest, I did not know what that was, but I thought, I can sell snacks while the kids play football. That's literally what I thought it was. So I texted her, and I said, hey, I'll do it. And she was like, great, multiple exclamation points. And I was like, what is this? And so the day later, I got literally a job description of what my responsibilities were. And I got a shopping list that was forever long. I had no idea what I was actually in for. I believe Luda Vetter was the junior high concession coordinator at that time. And I felt overwhelmed. So her and I developed a great relationship, and we coordinated and worked together. Laura told me not to worry, that I would have lots of help, because I found out I was responsible not only for shopping, but also for transporting all this information, all these snack foods and bottled waters and soda, and then I had to set it up and tear it down. And so I was a little nervous, and I almost kind of regretted doing it, but I'm really glad I didn't, because it was at that time that I realized how much effort went into this organization. That the little part that I thought was so overwhelming, which by the way was not that terrible, because Lita and I worked out a way to share responsibilities and share our items. I had parents and students that were showing up to help me unload and set up and tear down. And so it was through all that that I realized how important volunteering was. And it was how much it actually took to run this organization. And they asked me at that time to join the board, and I decided that I would do whatever I could, at whatever capacity, to be a part of watching this program grow. And that, I guess the reason that I tell you all of this is because that's how Eagle Nation started. I realized that we needed a way to communicate with the families, to let them know what we needed so that we could grow. Our organization spans 20 years, and it was all of those families before us that actually laid the foundation for what we're still building here. And Eagle Nation is all of you. It is families, it is athletes, it is friends, it is family, it is different sponsors. It's anybody that wants to support Landmark. And this is our 2nd year going and doing this, and I'm really hoping that we continue to grow, because we support a lot of really wonderful things. As Jason mentioned, the AT&T Stadium that we're going to, this will be our 2nd trip to Dallas. We were at another NFL stadium last year. We go to Florida every single year. We stay up to date on all of our equipment and needs for the coaches, and trying to do things to excite the kids here. And I wanted Eagle Nation to be that. And so what we do, since Eagle Nation is the one that helps fund all of that, we need volunteers to help be a part of Eagle Nation, and we need people that aren't afraid to fundraise and to understand it, to get in and find out what it is. So what I am looking for is 2 junior high parents at least and 2 varsity parents that would like to be a part of this. I would like to be able to have a group that is going to walk along beside the families here to help not only create great athletes, but also to create who God created them all to be. And that is at the heart of our organization and what we do. That is part of what makes us special. We are a family, and I'm hoping that at the end of the night, I have more than 4 parents that say they want to jump in and help. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, I think the next slide, we have Jeremy coming up to talk about athletic director kind of stuff.
Thanks, Jason. So I get to talk about the schedule. So next slide. Yeah, so this is the current varsity schedule. So we're pretty excited about this. We've got a lot of things locked in. A couple of things we're still looking to finalize locations. So we're just waiting on Mount St. Joe's schedule to be finalized, so that we can see if that could be available to us for a couple of these dates. So if you see there's some new teams added. So we're going to start with Peoples. And those games, first 2 games will be played at Ross. Then we go to Dallas. We come back, we take a week off after the Dallas trip. And then West Union is a new team we're going to play. And then Bexley, if you're not familiar, is a D3 public school up in Columbus. And so Coach Goodpasser always wants to have a good litmus test, right? Give us an opportunity to show what we're capable of against these public school teams, and this will be a really good test for us up there. And then we come back, and we finish with league play, and then Osceola is another homeschool program in northern Indiana that's coming to us this year. And then the playoffs, and then the championship will be played at Indiana Wesleyan. So we think we've got an opportunity to keep that streak of winning record rolling. So it's up to these guys and how hard they're willing to work, but the schedule's lined up really well for them. The next one is the junior high schedule. So the junior high schedule right now, we have 6 games currently booked. I've got 2 more that I'm working on. So one maybe before August 24th, and then I'm trying to squeeze another one in, and there's a chance we may have another one at the end. But the big change for junior high parents, home game at Spooky Nook this year. So we're going to play Dayton Carroll. We're back to playing Dayton Christian, who took a year off from playing us. And then we're going to play at CHCA again and some of the other games that you're familiar with. So excited for the junior high team and what they've got ahead of them this week. If you have any questions about the schedule at all, just come talk to me, shoot me a text or whatever. Happy to help. The next thing that I get to do is to introduce the coaches. So with that, I will call up Coach Mike Goodpasser. Coach will drop some words of wisdom and motivation.
All right, how's everybody doing? That didn't sound very exciting. All right, I want to welcome all the new people that are here tonight. Always excited to see new people. I think this is the biggest turnout we've ever had by far doing this. And I just want to emphasize, when you come here, this is not going to be what you saw in public school if you played in public school. All right, we care about the kids. I mean, I love everybody that's ever played football for me back from 1991 to now. And it's scary because that's a long time ago, and I have guys that are like 40 years old that walk up to me and say, "You remember me?" And almost invariably I say no, because that's a long time ago, and they're no longer this tall. But I think if you look at the schedule, our schedule is set up. We've got Beckley, which is a D3 school. It's supposed to be good. In the past, we used to be able to get public schools to play us at the drop of a hat. We were usually homecoming, almost always homecoming, 8, 9, 10 years ago. That has stopped to now where we have to beg public schools to play us because there's going to be a game. I mean, we played last year at Dayton Dunbar. They beat us up pretty good, like 36-2. They had 3 D1 athletes, quarterback, running back, linebacker. And when I talked to their coach after the season, he said, "No, we're not going to play because our 3 D1 guys are going to be gone." And when I talked to the Dayton Public Schools last year, they gave us Dunbar because they said the other public schools wouldn't be able to give us a game. Now, I bring that up, but our goal in the end here is not to win. Where I come from is this. When I was growing up, I wanted to win everything I ever did. You could ask my wife. On our first date, we went and shot basketball just for fun. And I asked her if she wanted to play a game, and I immediately blocked her first shot. Because that's just the way I was. And I mean, I wanted to win at everything. My dad was the same way, my mom was the same way, my sister was. We played badminton when I was like 10, and it'd be a bloodbath in the backyard. Because everybody had to win. That changed probably for me about 10 years ago when I realized I was defining myself by what happened in an athletic event. And that's really not the way this is supposed to work. And we've had a lot of guys over the last 10 years here that went to college to play football. And, I've had a lot of guys over the last 30, 40 years go to college to play football. And when I talk to them today, that's what they remember is not how many games we won. It was the way they were treated. Your son will be treated with respect. He won't be screamed and cussed at. I will yell if I think somebody's not trying because that irritates me. But if you make a mistake and you're trying, I'm not going to yell at you. Because most times you know you made a mistake, and it's my job as a coach to correct that. So you can ask the coaches, if Drew's the defensive coordinator and somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, I'm going to go to Drew. I'm not going to go to them because the way I look at it, Drew is the one that's supposed to coach them. Just like if my quarterback screws up, that's on me because I'm the one that coaches that position. And we're supposed to teach everybody how to play a game that they can only play, even if they go to the NFL. You're done by the time you're 35. You've got half your life to live yet. And it's just a game. But what this game taught me over the years was, it taught me how important it was, number one, to be selfless. All right? Before 10 or 15 years ago, I believed in God. I couldn't really tell you why. I couldn't. And I think there's a lot of people like that. My sons, 10 years ago, were playing at a public school. And my older son comes to me, he's a freshman, first practice, how'd it go? He said, well, there was actually a fight where 2 players started fighting and the coaches all got in a circle to see who would win. And he said, then the kid that lost, the coach was over there screaming at him, calling him the F word and everything else. I said, you really want to play here? He's like, not really. My younger one was in 7th grade and we'd already put him in Landmark, which I think was directed by God. Because he knew what I needed and what my family needed. All right, I was coaching football. I was full of myself because I was coaching football. We on TV every once in a while. It's supposed to be a big deal, but it really wasn't. And I mean, the thing that really struck home for me was like 2012 when my father passed away. That really struck a chord with me. That really made me think about what I want to do with my life. Do I always want to go around and take the next best job, make all this money? It means nothing. I can't take it with me. And the great thing about this team, we've got 2 great pastors. We got John Bush. We got Leland Bennett. In fact, we got 3 on the staff. Our DB's coach, John Bell. And Leland, who I met a long time ago, learned to control me, which he was the first one that did. And I remember we lost an arena championship game up in Ohio. We lose the game by like 2 touchdowns. And I told this story, and I don't even think Leland knew until like a year ago, until he started hanging out with this team. But the story was, we lose the Marians, this big championship game, we're all upset, sitting in the locker room. And Leland walks up, he says, and I know every player in here has heard this story, but he walks up and he says, you know, the great thing is this. When you pass away and you go to the pearly gates, God's not going to walk up and say, why'd you lose that game? Because he's not. He's going to ask me, how did you affect the people around you? And that's what we're here for. Or to call out Caleb Vetter and Peyton May because they're sitting there laughing while I'm trying to talk. Sorry, Caleb. But in the end, guys, the most important thing is not winning the game. The most important thing to me is for everybody to be selfless and everybody to love each other. And you can ask anybody that played on this team last year, that's what we did. I mean, we faced a 3-week span where we lost 3 or 4 of our 6 captains to season-ending injuries. Most teams don't come back from that. I think we were below, 2-4, 3-4 at one point. A month and a half later, we're playing in a Division III national championship game against a team with a couple D1 players. And we fought them all the way to the end. And the thing I'm not going to remember from this season, because it used to be, when my team lost a game like that, I'd think about it forever, all the things I could do differently. But I don't. Because what I wanted at the end of that game was the way I wanted the season to end. You know, everybody was in tears, and it wasn't because we lost a game. It was because we would never do that as that group ever again. That's what you get when you come to Landmark. I'm not going to promise you we're going to win a championship. I'm not going to promise you we're going to win a game. But I can promise you this. I will put everything, every coach I have or that's with me will put everything they have in developing your son into a better young man. That is the entire goal. And we're going to have 5 guys tonight who are going to go play college football. What's the percentage of guys that go play college football? Like 3%? We got 5 out of 12, I think, this year. I think last year we had 4. The year before that, it was 6. The year before that, it was 2. Most public schools don't do that. And you can ask anybody here, there's multiple people here that will work on getting your son looked at, getting your son somewhere. If I think your son is good enough to go somewhere, I will do whatever it takes to get them there. Because that's what we want. All right? We want, in the end, and every player here who's played for me knows this, well, all I tell them is this. When people ask me if this team was a success last year, I'll tell you, ask me in 20 years. Tell me how good of a husband and how good of a father they are. Because in the end, that is the only thing that matters. The only thing. And I promise you this, I will do everything I can. And my coaching staff will do everything they can to make that happen.
Coach this year, Keith Mooneyhan.
So, hey, welcome. I'm new to Landmark football, and I got to tell you, I am excited to be here. This is a great opportunity for us to really teach kids how to play. You'll get some kids who come and maybe they've played flag football, or maybe they've played in the backyard. So we're going to get kids that come with very little experience. We're going to get some kids that may have been playing since Pee Wee football. The great thing is we all take time to work with junior high to get them ready to play at the next level. We're very competitive. We have lots of people that want to get out there and win, but we also try and teach fundamentals and teach them how to play football. I will tell you this, that as we think about what's important in football, really the camaraderie that Mike talked about is what we really key on, and our relationship with Christ. We start every practice with prayer. We have weekly devotions, and that's an important part of what builds the fundamental character of these athletes. So I'd encourage you to bring your kids out, bring them to the games, bring them to the practices, make sure that they have the enthusiasm and excitement that we have. We're looking forward to a great season in 2024.
Hello, everyone. So glad you're all here tonight. Super excited about the new year. I feel like we close out last year, but here we go again. Woohoo! So for 2024, really excited about the opportunities that are coming for the cheerleaders this year. So we will start with new uniforms. It's been a long time coming. Super excited about that. So if you're a cheerleader, as soon as you're registered, I'll be in contact with you. We're going to start setting up those fittings for new uniforms. We also will do the mini camps, and then we do go to cheer camp in June. We participate at a cheer camp in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's with Christian Cheerleaders of America. It's a program that I have supported for many years. Their main purpose is to share the gospel. They use cheerleading to do it, and they are also on point when it comes to cheer, so we learn a lot of great things. So be on the lookout for information about that as well. So we do have the junior high squad as well as the varsity squad. Please share that information with any families or any potential cheerleaders who might be interested in joining us. We are not super strict on that junior high age. If there are some that are capable of cheering at a junior high game that are a little bit younger than that junior high age, I would love to have them come out and do a mini camp with us, see if it'll work for them. So glad we're all here tonight, super excited about the new season, and we are moving on to me. I'm back. Okay, so I do the emails for Landmark. So I will be sending weekly emails once the season gets underway. Until then, I'll be sending out an email when we have important information that needs to be shared. So once the season starts, it'll be on a weekly basis with just weekly events and things that we need to keep on top of. Make sure that you allow those emails because a lot of them go to spam or promos. People are looking for them, not sure why they're not getting the communications, but that is why. I also pull the emails from the Team Snap registration. So that's the best way. If you are registering on Team Snap, register every email on that Team Snap account that you want to receive those emails. I'll add to the appropriate distribution list. So for band, that's for cheerleaders, and you will find, if you don't already know about it, you'll find out about it quickly this year. And then Huddle, that is Jeremy's, right? So he'll be sending you invites, right, Jeremy, to the Huddle. And also, that Max Preps is yours as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that will all be coming as soon as we get registered on the Team Snap account for the season. You'll get all those invites. Okay, and that's up to Jason.
To piggyback off of what Sherry was saying, again, to illustrate the importance of Team Snap, when we get a schedule change, either, for example, on the junior high side, you guys have 6 games. We're going to be adding a game 7 and game 8 hopefully soon. On Team Snap, you'll get that information right away because we update the schedule there. So schedules are updated in 2 ways. They're going to be popping up on Team Snap. They'll also appear on the website. So the website has tons of good information. It's always a challenge when you're making a website to do just put the important details or you make it information heavy. Ours tends to be information heavy because we want people to be able to find the information they need. So I'll just talk real quick since Dr. Jacobson is not here tonight. We do require a pre-participation physical exam from all of our athletes, just like if you were in a public school setting. As mentioned earlier, Dr. Jacobson and I will have a day or possibly 2 during the last mini camp where we'll offer those sports physicals for $20, and then we just donate that money right back to the team. So if you're wanting to get that sports physical done through us, that's fine. If you want to get it done through your primary physician, that's fine as well. There's also another thing that we do, just in the interest of the safety of our football players, and our cheerleaders also take part in this too, is we do the SWAY protocol for concussion testing. You know, it's important to have an initial evaluation at the beginning of the season to make sure your players are healthy, and then if they do sustain an injury during the season that would be consistent with concussion, then at least we can have good follow-up and know when they're safe to return to play. I will tell you, not all of the private and public schools do this, but we take it very seriously. We want to make sure our players are safe if they're going to be playing football. And then one other thing that we have is we have an athletic trainer at every game on the varsity level. For the junior high level, that is a volunteer level, area that needs to be filled, and that can either be with an athletic trainer, a nurse, a physician, an EMT. We just need to have somebody who can do medical on the sideline for junior high. Okay. Next slide. All right, we're reaching the end of this. So I'm very happy I saw that this took about an hour, and that was my goal because I want to make sure we're saving time here to honor our 5 seniors that are going on to play college football. So obviously, I want us to have a great season. And if I could have Pastor Leland Bennett, I'm going to have him come up here so he can close us out in prayer. Pastor Leland. As I said, if you have any questions, be sure to grab one of the board members, and we can answer those questions for you. And you know, lots of good, exciting things. Our program has had great success over the past few years. You know, Coach Goodpaster didn't brag enough about how well we've done on the national level. You know, that tournament in Florida 3 years ago, we brought home a trophy by being the champions of the Patriot Bowl. 2 years ago, we were the Division III champions and brought home a nice trophy with that. The players got rings. This past year, we were Division III runner-ups. So again, we're just building a good foundation of success and are looking forward to continuing that this year. So Pastor Lynn, I'm going to let you close us out in prayer, and then we'll get things ready for our 5 seniors.
Thanks, Never trust the pastor who shows up with a book in his hand for being brief. But I'm not even going to open that. What I will do is show this piece of paper to some people in this room. They'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So what we did through the years, we selected a scripture that was the thing we needed to work on as an individual on this team this year. Put it in our wallet, have it with us every day, revisit it when we needed to, make sure each of us had it when we got together for practice and those kind of things. And so I want to encourage my guys, if you've lost your sticky note, and I'm a sticky note guy. When you get my age, you can't find the bathroom without a sticky note. So write your sticky note back down, and at least that's the light way for a pastor to pull his wallet out of his pocket too. So won't be passing the plate this afternoon. It's great to be here with you guys. There's nothing in the world better than working with young people and the Lord. So it's been a real honor to work with this team last year and with this organization. I look forward to doing it again this year. Hopefully we can expand our programming some a little bit. But I can tell you that there's nothing that your kids are going to feel more in this organization than the love of Christ and the love of the adults that are working with them. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us. We bless you for the opportunity to be in communion with one another tonight and with you. Dear Lord, thank you for these young men and young women and their hearts to be strong and competitive and to be all that they can be with the giftedness that you have given them. And for their parents who have supported them and will continue to do so, so that they might achieve all that you have for them to achieve. Lord, keep us focused. Let us see the light on our path that you provide. Keep us between the ditches. Help us to seek your will daily so that we might serve others. There's nothing greater than being in the service of others with men and women you respect. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.